No, don't
All
post
right,
that
and we
there.
are live.
Screw
I
you.
decided to go ahead and get started because I hold myself to a sense of professional decorum. We're supposed to start on time, even if, the guy you invited on is used to dealing with people who have been dead for a few thousand years.
He doesn't do that kind of archaeology as well. But he wouldn't be opposed to punching Nazis, though.
Good
Uh,
point.
you call this archaeology? Well, nah, not really. It's just like they're trying to kill us. I know, Dad. Well, it's the first time it happened to me. It happens to me all the time. Why does he go outside then? Belongs in New Zealand. According to who, Indiana? According to
Well,
who?
it does belong in a museum. What he forgot to add was that for him, it belongs in a white owned museum.
Yes, and like not with the
In real
indigenous
white,
people.
not Arabic white, because they're not really white. They're a little bit too dark. They're a little bit
So,
miscegenation.
okay, what about Hispanic white?
They're not white. Have you seen them? They're so brown in the inside where it counts. If you pronounce it tortilla, then you are not white.
Is right. What should we
If you
pronounce it
spell
then? And not
George with a
chimichanga.
J, you're not white, okay? Duh.
And we're joined by Isaiah Taylor. So officially, the show has been like a de-blacking, as it were, or it's like de-whiting, as it were, at least a
Mm-hmm.
little bit.
We have melanized.
Yes.
And I just got to say, somebody in your ship model Facebook group there doesn't know how right and left halves work. They think that you glued the wrong halves of your rowboats together, not realizing they can't glue a right half to a right half. It wouldn't really work.
No, and no, they have like pegs and holes to put the parts in.
And also, how could they not tell that those are obviously the lifeboats from the Titanic? You can tell because there aren't very many of them.
Yeah,
You'd be surprised, honestly. Well, to some people, the Titanic is just that one movie.
right.
Well, no, these are model
There's a
shipbuilders. I think they masturbate to the Titanic.
yeah, there's
Tell me I'm
there,
wrong.
and yes, there is a term for that called it is called ejectophilia.
They might.
Mm.
I mean,
It's
there
called
are
Rule
people who
34 or cargo shipping.
I mean, there's people who have like lusted like who wanted to marry the Eiffel Tower. So
There's a woman who married a
Hmm.
bicycle, or at least had sex with it.
Is and when the conservatives are just like we're so against like men and being married to men or something like that, they would just like say, "Oh, what's going to prevent like someone like being married to a bicycle?" It's just like or a goat, as it were. It's just like, oh, listen, as long as it's like consent. Now, there's an argument about like can animals consent to that sort of thing.
can bicycles consent to having sex?
There's an argument there as well. Oh, yeah, but then again, there's also the ownership as well. I think it's like generally agreed upon that like if it's your car, your bicycle. I mean, yeah, who you're hurting and something like that. When it says someone else's car and
You
someone else's
can't
bicycle,
own
that's
property, man.
uh, uh, I mean, I guess you're right. I mean,
Property is
that's fair.
theft,
Just
therefore theft is property. Steal somebody's bike and fuck it. Okay, just go ahead and have sex with their bike. I mean, clean it up after, but
uh,
that's just courtesy.
So
uh,
Geek, I actually made one of those avatar things you sent me.
oh yeah, Vroid and or VC Fates Avatar things. Since like or I guess for like last week, Lennoquin has like a Vroid or thing.
Yeah, so I
Was that the
guess
V-Roid you were looking for?
see if I
But you were
can
saying
put it
something
in.
about your V-Roid.
No, I was saying I made one.
Okay, but you're not using it.
Well, I don't know if I saved it right, and I don't know how to put it up here. So
You might require doing stuff through OBS or something.
Yeah, in order to actually have it, so the, like your is because I honestly have never done it. I just heard of people who have done it. So like I was like able to tell Lincoln, who's actually pretty savvy like themselves technology wise, like okay, you just have in order to use your Vroid in something like Zoom or even Google Hangouts, this word you would have like a digital greetings radical bacon, you would you use OBS, fire up both VRoid and OBS, and then like with OBS you will have your VRoid avatar be like a digital webcam, so that like you will show up as your avatar in the Zoom, that sort of thing. And I think that's what Lincoln did last time. And yet she was still asking me, it's like, how do I do this sort of thing? It's just like, I never done before, so I wouldn't know. But then I just told her that same spiel, and she was able to figure it out, and also get the voice mod working as well.
I don't think I did all.
Do you do you have OBS on your computer right now?
What's OBS?
Online broadcasting software.
Open source because it's free.
Um,
It's
Probably
what I'm
not.
using to stream to YouTube right now.
Yeah, it's great that software.
I'm just using my internet connection. That's how I.
So maybe Vroid or VC Face has something. I know I never played with those programs, so sorry I can't help you.
It's all right. I mean, I'm not. I'm not really as technologically savvy as people think.
Yeah, you're able to you do electronic engineering to put lights in your models, but that doesn't mean you know anything about
Yeah,
computers.
yeah. Well. I mean, it's a lot to learn, and obviously, electronics aren't cheap. So
Yeah, computers aren't cheap either.
I'm just hoping I don't have to. I don't have to buy something to make it work.
hmm I've been working on a notoriously hard coding a problem. At least for beginners, I'm just spinning the circles.
Have you tried a while loop? Maybe a for loop.
Mhm.
I don't know what that is. So
Well, I was talking to Radical Bacon there, and just throwing out random
Yes.
programming terms, not suggesting a thing for Vroid.
Mhm. So yeah, how's everyone been this week?
it's
Fine.
good. We have VP Kamala Harris is in Tallahassee today.
Mm, top.
Yeah. I know people really aren't too keen about Kamala, but I just want to bring that out there.
Understandably. I mean, well, then if you did, they'll be like, why the hell did you just coming here to just shit on Kamala Harris this war? To which I guess is fair. That's where.
It's
Um,
not like she can actually do anything as vice president. She just walks around
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, we're racist in America, and the Democrats are not going to fight that."
well, she did do. She told refugees from Guatemala to don't come to America. Just flat out, don't come, don't come. It's like yeah, it's. I think we finally. I think the U.S. administration has finally ended the Title 39 or whatever it is. Is it was a racist, xenophobic thing. It's like, hey, because COVID is happening, we're not allowing people to come into the country, as it were. Which was put into place by Trump, and this Biden administration continued, as it were. Uh, it, so
I can share my screen. I can show you what I can show
yes,
pictures of it.
the John Brockman to please allow sharing to
It should be already sharing aloud.
okay, there we go.
You guys see it?
Yeah,
Uh,
yes,
you're an
So
yes,
anime
we do
girl.
now.
that's the one I made.
This well, we have always said that Isaiah Taylor is a white girl in disguise, but
But
this is
now
an
he's
anime
an
white girl,
anime
not
girl
not.
instead of a '90s white girl.
Yes, exactly. Maybe this is the closest. Well, the thing is, with the V-Roid program, maybe he won't be able to do a clueless or
Stop sharing before you close the screen. You never know what we're going to see, Isaiah.
Um, well, I am watching this. Wait, I am watching this.
the
I
we're not seeing
swear,
anything
if you
else.
randomly share porn.
No, I'm not.
It
Yeah.
if you close
We're
something, we're still just seeing the anime girl.
Okay.
Because I bet you selected to just like see share that one thing as it
Window.
were. It might be title 42, like LMP. Hello, how are you doing? Hello, stack noise as it were.
I was watching this. That's why I was.
Oh
The
yeah,
trailer for Megan. Oh no,
oh
it's
from the
SNL for
SNL.
Megan.
No,
Yes,
this is an SNL skit about Megan.
Mm.
it's I had to remind myself like what the hell is Megan, because you were on about that quite a bit on the Ask Away too, and it was just like oh wait
Isn't it a
yeah
horror
okay
movie
yeah
about a white girl?
Yeah.
well that
Yes.
this
Or
time the white girl not being the victim.
well,
Mm.
it's a robot. I don't know.
And she's attacking
Android,
black
that
guys.
sort
She's
of thing.
calling the cops on them, right?
Actually, it's not. It's well, it wouldn't be an android because that's a male robot. It would be a
Mm.
gynoid.
Or an
Hmm.
That's the
anthropoid,
tech.
if you want to be gender neutral.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
Andros
that.
means man in Greek. Gynos means woman.
Oh
Anthropos means human.
Right.
ah, I
So
see.
misogyny means you hate women. Misandry means you hate men. Misanthropy means you hate people.
Hmm.
Republican also means you hate people, but mostly brown people.
Yeah, mostly non-white people as were. Depending on how brown you are, maybe they'll tolerate you, like
For a little
like
while.
Asians as it were. Yeah, for a little while. It's like
They'll
you might
fetishize
just be
Asian
annoying.
women.
Definitely.
Did you guys hear the story that DeSantis is saying he doesn't want to teach Black studies here in Florida?
Yep, they're gone. He's gone from don't say gay to don't say black.
I'm not surprised, honestly. Again, like you said, like Isaiah on your Facebook,
It
I
wasn't.
totally.
No, it's not all white people. It's not all white.
But there's a lot of white people that like make you very feel very anxious as a black man to be around like a lot of white people. As an example,
Yeah.
and again, it's like you don't, and it's like it's honestly, like I said before, it's fair for like non-white people to hate white people, as it were, because look what we have done.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I've definitely met some white people who do not like being white because of what their ancestors have done.
You see, critical race theory teaches white people to hate themselves.
Well, I mean, I guess considering all the shit white people have done, I mean,
yes, like it just when you like yeah, when you like read history accurately, or read it from like many different sides, from the perspective of slaves, from the perspective of indigenous people, from the perspective of like the marginalized, yeah, it's like
Women
quite
and queer
horrible.
folks and immigrants and
Hmm.
and.
Yeah, sometimes even in fiction too. Again, I'm
Basically, everyone that
simplistic
Donald
joking.
Trump wants to kill. End of
Yeah,
story.
exactly. Yeah. No, no, yeah, yeah, Ivanka, yeah, that movie, yeah, that's like, I mean, it's like, who in that family is just like not like a terrible person? I mean, Brandon because
The
he's young,
dog. Oh
but
wait, they don't
like
have a dog.
the dog, no, see, this is how you can show that like Donald Trump is like an evil person as it were because he doesn't have a dog, or all the terrible things that he has done as well. It's just like, but like not having a dog is like, what can a person not have a dog? A person that probably doesn't want the responsibility of a dog, which is understandable, honestly.
There are lots of reasons not
Um,
to have dogs. Being allergic,
mhm,
being poor,
yeah.
being a bad person.
Hmm. It's now,
That's all I'm coming up with.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to catch up with the chat a little bit. Seth Note says VPs used to always be like pretty powerless until Cheney. It's best like if she used her little power ahead of time and make it like the attacks against her look more insecure. Yeah, that's not true.
Well, I mean
And
that's a
yeah,
double-edged
Cheney,
sword because the more she does now, the
right.
more of a record she'll have to run on in 2024.
Hmm.
I'm assuming that Biden's not going to run in 2020. I'm hoping.
Yeah, same here. Honestly,
I
it'll
I,
be 83.
I don't want DeSantis to run, so
Hmm. But yeah, Wyman, I read about that. Speaking of like an awful governor as it were. is George Santos actually going to like fulfill his promise if what 142,000 like letters are signed to sent to him to like asking for him to like go away? I just see that pop up on like my timeline on social media, but it's like, and also I got some text messages from like the activist groups that I'm part of. The ones who want to send letter campaigns and the email campaigns, that's the kind of groups as were. Or I wanted like like what did he say? And like here's the thing: is the Thugglican saying something publicly as it were? I have a hard time taking their word for it as it were.
Well, you could always not care. That's
Oh,
quick
that's
and
true.
easy.
Did you guys hear there was riots in Atlanta yesterday?
Yeah, well, no,
What
no. I
happened
heard there
there?
were protests, and then the cops attacked them and called them a riot.
Okay.
I
Uh,
heard a cop car got torched.
okay. I mean, that also happened in Seattle, and I'm just like, yeah. I'm not crying over a cop car getting torched, especially it's just a vehicle, just property.
I always like it when there's
Oh,
pro.
well done, Fox 5 Atlanta. It doesn't, yeah, it doesn't take a genius to know that starting fires and breaking windows isn't protesting. Fuck you.
Again, as MLK said, which we just had MLK Day like last
No,
week.
MLK Day, the day that we can see how many white people are actually do they actually care about social justice?
Yeah, the whitewashing day of MLK is where he said that the riots is the voice of the unheard. And knowing
Mm.
Atlanta, much like Minneapolis, which like that, Linda Quinn knew it's from Minneapolis. Like we could have like to talk. She has talked a lot about Minneapolis from like her Twitch stream, so that so none of that was surprising at all. Um, and she would even like they would even like just fire back this like whenever people said, "Oh, why don't they just like peacefully protest or like been peacefully
Because you
protesting
fuckers
for
don't listen. Eat
years?"
a dick.
Yes, exactly. So they
I know
and
they should just follow the law, and they would have not nothing would have happened to them.
it
Of course, I don't see that with the people who stormed the Capitol. I don't hear any of that shit.
or the cops that are supposed to enforce the law. Again, Derek Chauvin had several like excessive use of force like complaints against him. He probably also killed a man before. It's just like that one wasn't
And
the
funny
big deal.
enough, the same people who like talk about that follow the law shit are the same people who then like bitch about if like someone had like a gun regulation. Dude,
Mm,
when I'm on Instagram on some of these, just like perusing the Instagram world, there's a lot of these like Second Amendment assholes who would say who would bitch and complain if there's like a sign that tells them they can't bring their gun in a store.
mhm.
Even though that's a law made by a private business, they still complain about it. But then it, but then the moment like a black guy gets killed by a cop, they'll say, "Well, why didn't he follow the law?" I'm like, why didn't you follow? Why don't you follow the law when it says you can't bring a gun in a building, dude?
No,
Or the
actually,
guy
40% of cops are in favor of peaceful protests. Google 40% cops, and you'll see I'm telling the truth there.
the 40% of cops that are like that have been charged with domestic assault
Dude,
before
that's the joke.
and
Don't spoil the joke.
I didn't even get the damn.
I am this gullible. Honestly, I would just like ask seriously like what this sort of thing too when like pretend it's a joke, as it were.
Basically,
Or,
whenever somebody
but
says something about cops, you say 40% of cops do X. Google 40% cops to find out. And then shit liberals Google it, and they learn that cops are all abusive assholes. Well, 40% of cops
mm-hmm.
have been called.
40% have been proven or been charged for being abusive assholes.
Yes.
Yes,
To white women.
there.
Let's be
Um,
honest.
well, yeah, exactly. Let's see. What else is it said? Yeah, Dick Cheney is evil. Catch up with chat or like respond to chat and that's about hey, MNC, hey, Zach Noise, how's everyone doing?
I gotta ask Jesse Gender in her next stream, does she think Megan is a gay icon? Because I'm seeing that too.
Mm,
She's INB. I'm betting.
mm,
She's what?
INB.
Okay.
Non binary.
non-binary.
All right.
Yeah, it was that was actually a distinction that was pointed out to
Let's
me. I
see.
would just
Artificially
say,
designed humanoid, pretty white girl in shape. She's definitely was made to be a sex bot and has a detachable vibrating penis.
King Missile song came true.
Hmm.
No, if I can't dance, it's not my revolution. Exactly, Phoenix. That's exactly what Emma
Are you
Goldman
not
said.
old
And
enough to
it's
remember
what
the video game Dance Dance Revolution, Phoenix?
I think they are old enough to remember the game Dance Dance Revolution, but they also took it in like that direction too. And yes, like Radical Bacon, cats are anarchists as were. And yeah, Radical Bacon, I feel complicated about being white because I'm only white in North America. If I'm in Europe, I'm Irish, which is still different than white. Yes, exactly, Radical Bacon. I'm at least one third English, but I'm also Scottish, Welsh, and Irish, and then like lots of other letters that
Okay,
different
no, no,
other
no.
like
I
European
mean,
countries.
you're correct that the Irish aren't white. That's because they're not actually human. You're actually potatoes interbred with leprechauns. I mean, that's just what the Irish are at this point. Half
Don't
potato,
forget
half
the
leprechaun.
alcohol too.
Well, that's what potatoes turn into over time.
So what form of OBS do you guys use?
I
The
use
current
vanilla
one.
what's known as vanilla. Yeah, I used it was known as vanilla OBS because it used to be what was called Streamlabs OBS or Slavs, but there was a lawsuit, and so Streamlabs had to just call their online broadcasting software Streamlabs and not Streamlabs OBS because actually they even though it's like they had the core programming again it was open source so it wasn't stealing. Hey, they had the core programming of OBS is kind of like how Evil Fox like describe it is like it's the same roots as a word, and they took a copy of that root and planted in a plant. But that plant that's Streamlabs OBS grew came into being a totally different plant as from like vanilla OBS. But people always call it, but now people call it vanilla OBS, and Streamlabs OBS is now called Streamlabs. Um, a lot of people use Streamlabs. Some
Okay,
there's
we
even
should
Stream
stop calling
Elements.
plain, like unadulterated, boring versions of things vanilla because vanilla is a spice that we invaded another part of the world to get.
Sure,
We should call it
that's very
English.
true.
English OBS.
Oh, Mithril, if you're here, you're probably not fine. You're probably fine. Yeah, yeah. But there's also stream elements because like streams so it's like streaming services where you can do alerts, you can like do bots, you can do like sorts of things for like on stream elements for all things. And stream elements also has his own online broadcasting software again, similar to like OBS because like OBS was open source as well. But I use vanilla OBS. I use the classic OBS
English.
Yeah,
as
I don't have a streaming service. I
Well,
well.
you have your
You're
YouTube
on
channel. You
one
get
right now.
OBS and you
You
can
are on
stream onto
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
okay.
Uh, yeah.
Well, whenever the ask going because like I want to see if I could have it up and running by the time ask not ask away but the Patreon hangout in a few weeks. So I want to have it up. And
And not this yeah, next week it'll be the Patreon hangout of the CHI. So I think it'll be like Patreon hangout number 99, if I remember correctly. Hey, because like
You
yeah,
should bring a
CHI
red
is
balloon
actually
with you.
why?
99
99 balloons
Luftballons.
Oh,
is now they're German, but they're so white, and so like we figured that you would be like totally into like a white girl singing since we're
it's called the quirky black character. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Black best friend
uh
or the magical Negro. Yes.
Guinan
There are
on
like
like
three whole black characters: black best friend, magical Negro, and angry woman, or sassy.
mm,
Sometimes she's
Or
angry,
the
sometimes she's sassy.
fiery.
or the
Or sometimes fiery. They say like any woman that has like a non-white skin tone would be called either exotic, is a fetishization,
Hmm.
or fiery, and
Or
just like
spicy
and they
if she's
don't.
Latin.
Yes, exactly.
yeah, it's true.
It's it's so you're thinking your grandma has like a little leprechaun in her?
Kinky.
My mind went to a really dirty spot, and I had to like stop myself from saying anything out loud for Phoenix's grandma, as it were. So just going to leave it there, leave it to your imagination. But then John Bruckman said kinky. So I'm more snarky than sassy myself. That's very fair. And also, don't forget to give money to Phoenix's where links are there. Blah blah blah. So speaking of Steve Shives, there was like a interesting question that like Steve Shives had on the last Ask Away. Um, it's Sorasha count as like spicy Latin? Maybe. Uh, all right, so I'm just going to just share near screen. Let's go to the advanced and make sure I can also share audios too, and 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 then select the screen. It's like that, and it's not. And I'll share. Okay. Yeah, now this question, the C-Shots received this question from like the last Ask Me on Friday. Hopefully you can be able to hear. Tell me if you can't. I should have like skipped ahead to like a earlier part, but didn't know that like Steve was like typing as it were. I should have prepped this like a lot more. Sorry about this, everyone.
So, next question comes from Thomas James Wright. Suppose some MIT research team has been running socioeconomic simulations and has determined that there exists a viable Star Trek like economic system which is equitable, safe, and productive. Their discovery is a revolutionary new method for resource allocation.
Wait a minute, am I just considering computer sound?
Minimal corruption.
You're just showing the sound.
And the qualification of involuntary
I would show the
poverty,
actual
and
video somewhere.
homelessness. Silly, anomalous behaviors like planned obsolescence and the practice of suing would be wiped from our reality, and energetic and material waste would be a thing of the past. Everybody's fundamental needs would be met, and of course, self-actualization would be, for lack of a better term, the functioning currency of humanity's reality. How, given our current global state
there we go.
and a healthy peppering of trick, our fictional future, their factual past, would you imagine we might move from where we are right now to the sprouting of the Federation's currency-free foundations? Oh, God damn it. Ask me something hard next time. Well, I mean, I think it would have to be a gradual thing. You'd have to phase it in. You couldn't just say, okay, everybody, first of next month, no more money. You know, like you'd have to.
I would say that.
First of all,
if I had superpowers, I would do that.
I think it would have to be like a global.
Yeah, if we had superpowers.
If I had Superman superpowers, I would destroy all the governments and militaries and banks, and then I would go on TV and say, be nice or I won't be.
I would, if I had superpowers. God, there's so much I would do. There's so much I would do. Like, I would. Okay, well, it depends on what superpowers we're talking about. Because, like, if I had like Thanos' powers, like, I would get rid of DeSantis. That'd be the first thing I would do. Not only him, but his wife and his kids. I don't want any part of that family existing. I'm getting
Don't do it stochastic, because you notice how I said governments and banks, not individual people and their families.
The children have to prove themselves that they're not awful for me, as it were. The wife may, I don't know, maybe that's like it depends on what she has done. Like I said to like the Trump is like, I don't have a problem with Tiffany because she doesn't do anything, and
she's conservative. Don't have a problem with... She's right wing. She's just
that's enough.
Fashion. What about Ivanka?
Ivanka was part of like Trump's administration. There's enough there, so that's why again, like Jared Kushner and like Eric Jr. They not the wall president at least. They just all go in prison for the crimes as well. But Brandon is a child. He hasn't done anything, so I don't have a problem with Brandon. But anyway, so like So while
what about Kellyanne Conway's daughter?
She's awesome.
No, she wants to. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, back to like Steve answering the question of how to like phase into. Like, Steve thinks of like phasing in and to like this sort of thing, and unfortunately,
of course,
I think
Steve's
like has to be.
Democrat.
Because I would love to snap my fingers and say no more money as it were, but like I want people to also just get used to the idea. How about we just like run society as it is, but with just no money? There's no. You go to the grocery store, just grab what you need and like leave. You just like Barron Trump, not Brandon. That's like I forgot.
Let's go Barron.
The name of the child. Yes, it was Let's Go Barry. All right, but
Um,
just to imagine.
if I had Kilgrave's
Mhm.
powers, mind control, then I would just travel the world in a Winnebago, and there would be a rash of random billionaire suicides after they withdrew a lot of
Right.
money from their accounts.
I would probably. Oh,
Kilgrave? Oh yeah,
From
from
Jessica
Jessica
Jones,
Jones.
mind control powers.
if we're so, I guess if it was like the Fairly Odd Parents, I would just wish I had a decent size house so I could put all my shit everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's I have a problem with like big houses. It's like a gigantic mansion that's like taking up a lot of land and like one person, one family to live there as
I
well.
don't I
No,
don't I
if
don't
I had
need
Zach
that.
Morris's superpowers, I could abuse those too. Zach
uh,
Morris is
but anyway,
the hero from Saved by the Bell who has the ability to stop time, so long as he's talking to the fourth wall.
yes.
So all I
I'll
have to do is
continue with
talk to
like
myself. That means I can stop time and I can do whatever the hell I want.
God, I talk to myself all the fucking time. Man, God, if talking to yourself is like a superpower, so it's like, oh man. But like, what would it be like a Death Note sort of thing, where it's just like you just like wish for something to happen and it happens? I don't know. But anyway, talking, and yeah. So like maybe say Terror want to write to Ron DeSantis' name in Death Notes as where. But no, I gotta continue with the video as like, yeah, that's well, like I would love to instantly get rid of money as it were, and hopefully everyone be cool with it. Unfortunately, a lot of people won't be cool with it or won't know how to like live the world as it were. And so, yeah, but like, but the Steve thinks about facing it, and so
Global thing. It would be chaos if, there was half the planet living in the Federation with no money and no poverty and no disease, and the other half was still trying to do things the other way. Like, I feel like we'd have to get everybody on board.
there's
Um,
some people that won't, but yeah.
and then we'd
Like
have
with
to
that.
phase it in gradually, you know, and maybe you start by making by sort of removing certain things from the cash-based economy. You say, okay, we're still going to use cash for certain things, but say the essentials will now be provided to everybody. You no longer have to pay for your food or your shelter or your clothing or your education or your transportation or your communications. Like the basics of life you can access without having to pay for it. So you no longer have to work for that, you know, and implement that, have that be the standard for a few years so
Well, at
that
least he's
everybody
not
can get
talking
used to it.
about
Then you start phasing out
basic
using
income.
money for other stuff.
Yeah, he's not talking about basic income. Honestly, this sounds like mutualism as it were, because
Yeah,
mutualism still
phasing
has
into mutualism
markets.
and yeah.
Hmm.
I would say good
Yeah.
luck with this. I feel like there's a lot of shitty people who could not live in a society with no money.
It's yeah, they will just have to be outnumbered. Outnumbered isn't like they're just in the minority of opinion, as it were.
I would say who cares? Fuck those people, but that's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, don't fuck those people. They don't deserve those loving. First of all, but like, let's just ignore.
You know what I meant.
I have no idea what you meant. Yeah. You lost two coffee machines. Those these damn cockroaches. Damn, that sucks. Like Phoenix.
To a point over a period of time, let's say maybe 10 years. So you can have a gradual transition where
Ten
you're living
years,
in
maybe.
Star Trek world, and you can, that in and of itself is extremely short on details,
Well, there's mutualism.
but that's because I am not smart enough to know what those details would be. Um, Yeah, I think you would have to phase it in, and it would need to be phased in over a fairly long period of time because it is such a dramatic change from the way things are done now. But the earliest phases of the transition would have to be bringing in the elements of it that would be, the poverty relief, right, and
Yeah.
the hunger relief. You'd have to make food and the basics of existence available
Hey,
to
Groundhog.
everyone as the first stage of the phase in. Because I mean, if you come up with a nearly foolproof way to get rid of poverty, I mean, like you don't you phase that in first. You don't save that for last. You know.
Well, I do agree with
But I
that.
would think something like that.
Yep, and that's pretty much it. The 250 these asks like, should it's already geek. Should I tell him that he's just describing democratic socialism, or will you? I say that's mutualism that he's describing.
Well,
But
they're
I'll
not
stop sharing.
exclusive. They're not mutually
True.
exclusive.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I see democratic socialism as like believing that like you can achieve socialism through electoralism. And granted, maybe we're talking about like the current
That's
system
more
we
social
are.
democracy. So they kind of fade into each other, I think. Thing is, democratic socialism is socialism. It advocates for an end to capitalism, and says that the way it should be organized is through a democratic form of government.
Oh, no, like Phoenix, your brother got you like a mug for Christmas. That's like a Stardew Valley theme. Nice, that's the word.
Nice.
That's a what?
Stardew Valley. That's a great video game that I stream. I actually stream off and
It's
off
a
on my
lesbian
Twitch channel.
farming
That like, yes, it is absolutely because you can absolutely totally be lesbian in that game.
No, you have to be. Otherwise, you're playing it wrong.
And I am actually in my game, as you were. I just found in my current like on stream save, I gave flowers to like Lee. It's like anarcho-capitalism poisoning the rich. The rich are not going to go for that unless you say something really fancy. As
Anarchism, you don't give the rich the choice.
Oh. But anyway, so like, yeah, so the cheap size is like kind of like not realize it, but already like kind of agree with like the simplified version of like mutualism as it were. Again, he is not familiar with details, probably because he hasn't read any Pierre Joseph Proudhon, and there's criticisms that have a Pierre Joseph Proudhon as well as I've read Joseph Desjardins like essay on exchange as it were. But I always see mutualism as where things like, oh, all the essentials, they're not in the market. No, they're provided to everyone. There's no cash transaction or no transaction like that. Everyone make sure that they have the food they need, the shelter they need, the heating that they need, the clothes that they need. Those are all available to them as it were. And like, it won't be hard for people to be able to make things, to make clothes, to like provide housing, because people do love to do that sort of thing too. A lot of carpenters love to do like that kind of work. There's a lot of seamstresses that love to make clothes, and there's like, and a lot of people enjoy cooking. So it's like you can just have one person, or a group of people, or whoever, or like they can provide all that thing. And so Steve Jobs does seem to describe mutualism in that like it's all the extra stuff, the luxuries, as it were, that will be like done in the market, and it's a phasing in process where it's just like you still have currency, you still have cash.
The revolution will have porn, or it won't be a revolution.
I mean, it is, and there's plenty of like sex workers as well that are leftists as well. Communist sex workers, and that is a thing. Yes, it's something.
Yeah, it's actually probably far more prevalent than sex workers who aren't communist.
I mean, I did see like a woman who like a sex worker has a video of her masturbating while reading some Karl Marx as a word.
Well, that's one way to get your junk up, I guess.
I mean, our friend Literal, like, I hope you're well, Julie. We all miss you. Yeah, just pay for a phone. Yes, Phoenix, that's right. You have OnlyFans. And do I have to link to that OnlyFans? I think I do, actually.
Oh, who has an OnlyFans?
Phoenix. So you can give like them money for like pics.
All right.
But anyway, where was I going? But no, like that. I from what I understand, I still need to read up more on mutualism. Though there's still criticism to be half of mutualism, but for me, you need to try to reset your OnlyFans. Okay, but for me, it's just like I see mutualism not as the end goal, but a bridge from like our current system over to like fully luxury automated gay space anarcho-communism. Because like people are, yeah, is for some, for a lot of people, not for us. It's like I think we can easily just like they go, oh, it's a monolith society. No, okay, yeah. I just need to know where, like, if like, oh, if I can still live here, but I don't have to pay rent at this apartment. Great, absolutely. Or it's like, oh, I don't need to like money for like the food I'm getting from the store as well. Okay, great. And there's still the issues of like how a grocery store functions in our society as well. Is grocery store runs the greatest invention of capitalism, made with so much blood so that you can get like cotton candy flavored cherries in the middle of January in Minnesota. Um, or some other adult site so people can like see pics of my results of like generous puberty, as it were. Oh, that was like on Animaniacs when Brain was Baba Hoo Bob Brain. This was his goal to try to like rule the world through a country music song. He was like talking to a Dolly Parton, the Dolly Parton lookalike. I'm your biggest fan. What do you say to that? I say that puberty was inordinately kind to you.
I just looked up
I always
Rule
love that.
34 marks, and for some reason, there's a lot of Kirby in here.
That's so strange. There are far more sexual stimulating political theories than Marx. That's true, Groundhog. Absolutely, that's very true. I made a mistake of looking up houses for sales in my area and found a cute but and pretty cheap house. And I like if I had a
You
job.
don't have to have a
Yeah,
job in order to be able to afford a house. You could also buy a house if you have a 7-member polycule.
yeah. Seven member what you cut out there first the last
Polycule.
second. Oh, 7-member power cube. Okay, there's that. That can be messy though. That I know from some people that like have done that, and it was really messy. It's like be very careful when you try to do a commune. Just gonna say that.
There was one topic I wanted to touch on. Apparently you got Geek, you're having issues with like friends of yours.
You have other
Like you
friends.
have
Eh,
a brother that's like, or you have like a relative that's pretty extreme in their beliefs, right?
I do the um uh uh okay, yeah. Well, the thing is, like, my younger brother, who I live with, is basically a Trump supporter. I see him as a fascist as well. So
Yeah. Well, I was as someone who has had Republican friends in the past, you don't necessarily have to have Republican friends if you don't really need to.
there's not friends, there's family members.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a problem with like they're my family members again. Like so my younger brother, thankfully he doesn't talk about politics either, so I don't talk about like politics either. That's just like, and again, I don't think I'd be able to convince my younger brother off of his positions of the world. They had conversations in the past. He's been pretty animate on like my um yeah, and my older sibling as I try to have conversations with them, and like despite the wealth of information that's out there, like even Snopes to disprove like whatever my younger brother thinks about Black Lives Matters, he has said is like it is a racist organization as well, or it's like nothing's going to convince him as well. So I was like, and again, I didn't came out to my younger for being non-binary because I didn't want to have the conversation about him disagreeing my gender. My dad is not the fascist, but maybe depending on who you ask, as well, because he's conservative. I didn't like Bill Clinton because like Bill Clinton raised taxes, and also think Sweden is socialist because of the 60% tax. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. I should bring up that like then he thinks like America under FDR was like socialism because we had high taxes then too. Um, but my dad has actually like stated to me. I just asked him, "Who did you vote for?" He did not vote for Trump in 2016. I don't know who he voted for, but it wasn't Trump, and that's good enough for me. He didn't vote for Trump. It doesn't seem like he voted for Trump in 2020, and I don't care who he voted for because as long as it's not Trump, I don't care. But I know that like he probably would down tickets or more. He would more likely vote Republican than like Democrats as were.
You
So
think
that's why my dad has like said we probably shouldn't talk politics, or he doesn't want to talk further on that topic as well.
you think your dad would vote for DeSantis?
I don't know if my dad would vote for DeSantis, but that's a good question. I think my dad did know about like Trump and think that Trump has a car on it, so that's why he was not going to vote for Trump. But DeSantis, uh, a more legitimate politician. I don't know. Maybe the don't say gay thing will be enough for my dad because like his younger brother is gay, so there's that. Um, is
Maybe
mainstream
my
culture
parents
is
will be
one
dead by the time of the next election. They're kind of old.
of yeah. My dad is about 60, so it's like he's not going to croak anytime soon. Well, at least I hope he doesn't croak anytime soon. Just, that would just be hard.
I mean, I love
Mainstream
my
culture.
parents, but they're bad neighbors globally. They're
Yeah,
Americans. They are literally boomers.
I do
yeah.
Actually, I
have
think
some
my dad
good.
might be a year too old to be a boomer.
No,
What's
it's
that
a
say?
silent generation.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Silent Generation
No,
is
I
the
have.
one before the Greatest Generation. That would be
Okay.
his parents who
Okay.
are
Right,
silent
that
generation.
was the World War II. That was the World War One generation.
The Great
The
Depression
silent.
generation.
Silent gener. Yeah. Well, I'm saying that I have wait, let me start over. I'm going to be displaying all my Titanic stuff at the IMAX where I work at when we get the 25th anniversary of the movie. So
Oh,
I get to
yeah.
Nice.
play this.
That's
Are you
right.
going to
You did
have all the
mention that
lifeboats
before.
on there?
Yes, all the lifeboats are already on there.
Okay. Are the lights
Nice.
working?
Yes.
What about the
Nice.
like chimneys? I think you were putting on little chimney
Yeah,
things.
they're funnels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've already done that. I still got to do some work on them, but I've already done
Do you have
them.
the tiny little people in the back of the car doing it?
No, I don't have them, unfortunately.
Ugh. Ugh. Can it really be the Titanic without Jack and Rose fucking? Come on.
No, you're
It's
not.
got to be genuine. Everyone knows that's a true story.
Hmm. Yeah, and that like diamond and that sort of thing too. But yeah, this is heretic. Mainstream culture is one of hyper individualization. It's difficult for those that grew up in to like try to start a commune. It's got
Also, the
so much
fact that the
things to
law
like.
does not really mesh with communes all that well. You have to work really hard to make a commune happen legally.
Yeah, legally as it were. Yeah, because like how the laws is set up, it's for like an individual to own something as it were. I mean, David Graeber pointed this out in like direct action iconography. How can a organization like Dan Direct Action Network of New York own a car? As in the collective own the car, as it were. It's really difficult to do that because, like, yes, even though the company of Dan can own the cars, where it has to still be tied to an individual as it were. So like it has to be the one guy that is the owner of the Dan car, essentially. And,
Or the
and
primary
so it's
caretaker or some shit.
yeah,
Or the primary
exactly. And
operator,
like
whatever you want to call it.
exactly. And Deborah Gregory did realize that, yeah, the law and the state is able to inject themselves into a situation, forcing us into like individual ownership, as it were, with something like a car or especially even a house, because they're big enough. You can't really like carry it around and just like give it, hand it off to someone else, as opposed to like a laptop or even a computer. Yeah, computer sizable and not really like that mobile, as it were, but you can still just like hand it off to someone else. Hell, our cell phones, if you want to, you just like hand it off to someone else. They just showed them how to do a factory reset, and there you go. That phone is now theirs.
Well, I mean, in some areas where we already do that, we for Uber, like because I do Uber sometimes, and I share my car with strangers. So
But that is within the app and within the knowing of a service of Uber is not the same
You
thing
still own
of
your
just
car. They
like
don't own the car. You're not an employee. It's an abusive relationship.
sure.
yeah, it is. And even like or some kind of like ride sharing thing is like I say only in major cities because that's the only way that will work in the market as it were. But like bikes as it were, you can just pay for a bike to be able to use a limited
Yeah, a
time
little
or a zip
rideshare
line
thing.
or a
Yeah.
scooter. Yeah, yes, and they even have that for cars too in some places. But again, only major cities because that's the only way the market can like work. But of
And you
course,
can't
it's
do
just
that
like
for a house unless
yeah,
unless that's what you would call renting.
Yeah, or timeshares as it were. So, oh, those like
Oh shit, Groundhog's calling you out, Isaiah. Better get back here and defend your
is.
baby. Groundhog's insulted Titanic. Fight, fight, fight.
No, saying that this ship is better than Titanic.
I
Olympic
mean, the
over
thing is,
Titanic.
Titanic was just meant to be the
I,
best in luxury. It wasn't meant to be the biggest or the fastest or anything like that. It was just
I,
meant to be the
I
most
actually I
luxurious.
actually like the Canard ships more, the Lusitania than them.
Yeah.
Oh, if they're
But
so much better, then why'd they get sunk by the Germans? Boom.
that was war. Unfortunately.
I was not being serious.
Yeah. Oh, also apparently Pitch Black is now in the stores for a limited time. But like so the Mountain Dew flavor Pitch Black is available in stores for a limited time. Just they McRip it as the word. Just brought it back for a limited time for people to buy it or but
How can
now
they make it
also Mountain Dew.
temporary? Everyone knows that once you go black, you never go back.
And what does it
So
taste like? It was
if it
a
doesn't
dark
taste like
citrus
coal
punch.
tar, then it's not real.
I want to try that new Starry stuff that replaced Sierra Mist. I want to try that.
Oh yeah. Little Quinn has talked about that on her stream as well. It's like so much sugar, like twice as much sugar as before. But it's still a lemon lime soda, or what the people in the UK would call a lemonade. But it's just like apparently it's so good because like it's so sugary too. I don't know, like even for maybe a cocktail mixer, it might be like really sweet as we're.
All right, here's a question for you. Somebody asked this on Reddit, r/ask. Why do people compare Jordan Peterson to Andrew Tate? I understand that they could both fall under the self help umbrella, but they just seem too far apart in what they preach and how to actually deal with adversity. So, why would you compare Jordan Peterson with Andrew Tate? My response was they're both extremely toxic, far right wing, misogynist shitweasels.
Yes.
Don't think you need to go further than that, personally.
Yeah, you don't need.
Although I think Andrew Tate is probably worse in my opinion.
Well, yeah, he's literally a human trafficker.
Yeah.
So as you guys know, I like to hate watch more Pierce Morgan, because I think Pierce Morgan is such a fucking weasel in a lot of times.
And such a dumbass and so thirsty for Meghan Markle.
He's a crybaby. The dude,
Yes.
the dude talks
he's
about
a rich white Republican, well, Tory. So yeah, of course he's a crybaby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's had Pierce. I mean, he's had Andrew Tate on his show, and Andrew Tate
Of course he does.
I like I don't even know what to say. I despise Andrew Tate it's no one's business.
It's Grant. I said Olympic was more interesting because they had a longer career, and like and Nomada is a later
Olympic
liner.
also much more like lavish too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Normandy is a later liner. So comparing the two is weird. I also like I'm gonna butcher this. Mauritania. Again. Mauritania. Again, because like it serves for like longer as were. My favorite boats are submarines. Yeah. No, submarines, super submarines. Supermarines like a. Yes.
Submarines are cool.
Mm-hmm.
But but what Groundhog actually said was Supermarines, which in a couple of seconds, it's up on the stream now. I just shared a link from questionablecontent.net of what I imagine Groundhog means by a Supermarine. It's a submacopter. A submarine that can also fly. Holy shit!
There's something there's the Spitfire.
Oh, Spitfire, I don't know about that.
Supermarine Spit. That was the company that made it.
I see. No, so yeah, Andrew Tate. Apparently, there was like people protesting, like Yeah, no, like people the Andrew Tate fans protesting in like Athens, Greece, is where like, oh no, we want to like Savior to like not be in jail. He's in prison for a wrong thing. I think that's what they're talking about. They're saying this is
I hope
where
they all
I
get
didn't
mega
like.
AIDS and die.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Not just
don't get
regular
the
AIDS, mega AIDS.
AIDS X. Will say, I don't like get some of these men. Like is it that hard for them to talk to a woman? Is it that
Yes.
hard?
yes,
Well, how do you
Yeah.
have a conversation with somebody who isn't a human being?
Well, women are human
Not
beings.
to
it's
them.
a it,
As
well,
far as they're
and also
concerned,
not.
women are walking fuck toys. That's it.
Yeah, because their goal in talking to them is only trying to like to get to like that like achievement. That's where.
They're Cupid dolls. They're a prize you win, and the game is conversation.
Well, good luck trying to convince them of that. It's like, d- do they not know what masturbation is? Like, I'm sorry, but like,
Some of the ethno nationalists don't masturbate at all because like it
Remember,
will
these are the
like
people who invented No Nut November.
yes.
well, that's their loss, I guess. They can't then blame women. I don't know.
Oh, they
I'm
can
I
blame
gotta be
women for anything. I mean, they're not
It's
rational or
misogyny.
reasonable about it.
I,
They're
I
just
gotta
making shit up.
I gotta be honest. I'm glad I never went through this phase. Like don't get me wrong. I've definitely had like loner for phases in my life, and but I've never ever sunk to this kind of shit. I don't know. Maybe it's a black thing. Maybe because we've had so much shit happen to our people, we
No,
just
there are hoteps out there. They're pretty
Yeah,
much the same thing, only black and classier.
yeah.
black.
Then there's black conservatives as well. No, but no, not November, but forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
If only we could
Yeah.
castrate everyone on the far right. Don't do us too nasty.
Yeah, that's just disgusting. And honestly, Steve Shaw's got they got a question like that about like sexual people are critically accused of like sexual assault in like a prison and thinks that like that's the appropriate punishment of like a chemical castration to them. And it's just like I don't think Steve Shaw was on board with that. And many of the Steve Shaw's owners was not on board with that idea too because like it probably has been used, so chemical castration of some kind, as it were. But like, if it has been done, it's going to be, especially with our current prison system as it is, it's going to be used against black people. It's just it already has. That's where sterilization of like black women and like indigenous women and like Latinx women
And
like
men
have
in
been
prisons and so on until the
yes,
70s officially. Still today,
yeah,
unofficially.
yes. Yeah, exactly. So like still happens. So like I hate the idea of giving more power to the prison system and police system as it is right now of determining who gets to like procreate and that sort of thing too. And so no, and like plus corporal punishment has proven not to work at all. So I don't see like the point. And besides, what the person is also missing because he's saying this to due to sexual assaulters, so rapists as it were too. It's that it's not about sex. It's not. It's about power. And so sexual assault and rape is more or less about power. You can castrate it if this is the person that wants to like punish people in that way, raping them as it were, is about power, not about the sex. The sex is more or less the excuse as it were. So even can't believe I even like proposed this in middle school when we were studying this as we were talking about this kind of subject. I even proposed that back then, and the teacher told me no, it's about power to them. It's not about sex. You can try
I
to
mean, the
like
thing
do
is, I want to push back a little bit. Rape isn't just about power. That is a popular theme coming out of the 90s. But
that's what I'm
there's more
thinking.
to it than that. People who are angry and want to punish people. It's not about asserting
Sure.
power, but hurting. And then there's the sadists
Yeah.
who do it just for the pleasure they get from hurting someone. For them, it is about
Yeah,
pleasure,
that's definitely.
but it's pleasure from
Yeah.
hurt.
That's
So
what seemed.
there's different methods and aspects to it.
I
And
also.
then there's people who are sort of driven to it because of a pathology that's unrelated to sadism or to things like that. So it's more complex than just the stereotype of the feminist saying thing.
Yeah. I
That
bought this at Walmart the other day.
classic
Somebody cut a hole on the
Enterprise.
Well, I did, but here it is.
Oh, it's
Nice.
done already. Wow.
Can you push a button and make
It's
it go
nice.
bleep bleep? Oh, it does light up. It does go bleep bleep.
Oh, the classic.
Does it have a little
noises.
stand you can sit it on?
Yes, but I have no room to put it on, so I'm just waiting till I get a bigger place where I can do that.
See, this is why I don't buy things because like I don't have like room to like put things.
Well, this was like $42, so I had to get.
Yes, it has a lot of noises that they can play. Nice. Oh, if the people that I live with have kids, and earlier today I heard them hit one of their kids. Like I can hear the sound through my door. Ouch. If sexual assault was just about power, then legal prostitution wouldn't like decrease sexual assault rates. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
and the
yeah,
majority of sexual assault is between people who know each other.
Yes,
So it's more complex than that.
you're right. So like, I just don't agree with the idea of like
A lot of it is about
castrating, like-
entitlement.
yes, I agree.
So it's meant to be an expression of power rather than a creation of power. I think something like that.
True. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. So, I just like saw this Legal Eagle video today. Alex Jones is apparently bankrupt.
Again, still, I mean, he declared bankruptcy ages ago, didn't he?
Yeah, several times, honestly. This
So
is just
I'm
like
guessing that
more
Legal Eagle is just explaining it and finally getting around to it because there's been so much law stuff going on.
Yeah, you covered a lot of it as it were, but like Alex Jones is just doing the shell game as it were, of like no, it's like this. No, this company has to like they do this first. No, it's not like me. It's like this company like that sells these supplements and that sort of thing. And yet, like he also has to like I had to pay my creditors first before I had to pay to send the hook people as it were, the victims of Sandy Hook and like the victims of his like conspiracy theories as were like it's a lot. Yes, exactly, Groundhog. It's a good old text dodge as word, and it's just like, and Alex Jones can still like do his show because how else is going to pay off his legal fees if he like can't do his show?
The thing about declaring bankruptcy is a way to try and not end up homeless.
Yeah.
So there, and it's thus only available to rich people. Basically, you say,
Yes.
"I'm bankrupt," and then the courts step in and start managing your finances for you, and on a first come, first served basis, dole out all of your property to your creditors and leave you with something to live on in the meantime.
Yeah. No, yeah. He does have to like he's
Because
able
if you
to,
didn't
like,
declare
afford-
bankruptcy, then you would just get sued, and it would just first come, first serve whoever came in. And sued you
Yeah.
for your assets. And it's just a way to try and survive the process. Whereas with bankruptcy, they say, okay, we're going to try and do our best to make everyone whole, and they'll all get pennies on the dollar, but that's the best they can expect.
Yeah, exactly.
And the different states have different methods and so on for how bankruptcy works.
So yeah.
So frankly,
Alex
I
Jones-
hope that he dies alone in a ditch,
Yes.
covered in penis tattoos that he did not want to get. But
I mean,
that's
he's
probably
left
not
penis
gonna happen.
stickers on him all over the place. That'll be fine with him.
I didn't realize how nutty he was.
Hey.
Oh,
Yeah, no, he's just kind of an out there wackadoo. Although he tried to claim that it was just a role he was playing for, and maybe it was, but probably not.
no, yeah. He says like, "Oh, I'm just playing a character, and just to get out of like responsibilities, as it were, legal responsibilities." Like, yeah, that was brought up in his like divorce, as it were. No, I'm just playing a character, as it were. Who?
But the thing
I
is
am on
that playing the
shows.
character thing is not a defense, because what he's saying
Yeah.
there is that he knows that it's not true, and
Yeah.
that is basically obviating any possible defense to a defamation suit. Knowing falsity is one of the prongs for defamation.
But remember, they're trying to turn the frogs gay.
Yeah, which is why they
Please,
sell
the French are
fluoride.
all born gay. There's no such thing as a straight Frenchman. Come on.
Which is why they sell fluoride-free toothpaste on their sites as well. And that's yeah, the groundhog says the reality he used a sneaky trick to be able to end up a bankrupt again. Essentially, it basically one of the companies that he owns, his parents owns is where that's like says no, Alex Jones owes us money is where, and they managed to get the filing in like just before the lawsuit of Sandy Hook. So it's
I
like
think he tried to do that with his house, is what it was, and it didn't work.
yeah.
But anyone should be able to file bankruptcy. And frankly, bankruptcy is more about defending creditors.
Yeah, it
I will
is.
say
the
there was
person
a
who's
time.
filing.
There was a time a while back that I would like macabrely listen to Alex Jones just to see what kind of crazy shit he would say next.
You can listen to Knowledge Fight. Not Knowledge Fight.
Oh,
Brain
yes.
Wars. No,
Yeah,
Knowledge
yes,
Wars. Brain Wars?
This I think is no
Brain
fight
Fight
is where
podcast.
there is
There we go.
yeah. There are two guys that like they're dedicated to like listening to all and watching all of Alex Jones's like
See,
stuff. So
InfoWars.
that's like
Is it Brain Fight or is it Knowledge Fight? It must be Knowledge Fight because I'm not getting anything when I Google. It's
Knowledge
a
Fight. It
podcast.
is
There
Knowledge
they
Fight.
go over. There it is. Yep, Knowledge Fight. It's just two guys who go through and talk about Alex Jones. They have 769 episodes. Jesus Christ.
Alex Jones talks a lot, to be fair. And like,
their
for someone
publishing
like
looks like 3 times a week. Every Monday,
there's
Wednesday,
a
and Friday.
lot to cover.
No, it's not that regular,
Is-
but it's multiple times a week. Jesus.
Yeah, it's like it's because like it's nice to like and for like the figure like Alex Jones or some of these like other like alt writers or fascist figures. Where it's good to have someone that is making it their job to just like monitor this one person. So if like you need to know like what's up with this person, you can like find people to talk about. Like Daniel Harper, he listened to all those Nazis, so it kind of just like with South Critic, Daniel Harper listened to all those Nazis, so you don't have to as were. Daniel Harper is the co-host of like I Don't Speak German as were, and that's the stated goal of like the podcast. Like he subjects himself to listen to all these fascists on their radio shows to know exactly what they're talking about, especially since like a lot of their radio shows are behind paywalls, and so to be fair, I don't know anyone that wants to pay to like listen to fascists talk about like whatever something like that.
Except
So it's like.
fascists.
It's a fascist, of course. So I commend like Daniel Harper for having the mental fortitude to like be able to like stand listening to these bastards like for hours on
In
end.
a
as
similar
it were.
fashion, you get Mike Marshall. Yes. Of Skeptics with a K over in Liverpool, England. Who one of his podcasts is Be Reasonable, where he sits down with somebody with a stupid belief like flat Earth or something and just has a conversation with them about their beliefs. I could never do that.
Yeah.
Well, a couple months ago, I met someone who didn't think the moon landing happened. She said it was like a government job or something. And then I asked her, "Well, how did you know that?" And she said, she said, "Well, someone told you that we landed on the like no one told." And I'm like, "No one told me anything. I just read a book about it. No one. What do they do?"
But the author told you because he wrote a book.
I guess. Then what I want to do is I asked her, does she believe the Holocaust happened? She didn't get back with me.
Can of worms. Yeah.
Yeah, this is part of why I don't have conversations politically with my younger brother because I don't want to know what else he believes in. It's like I already know that like he like yes, the moon. That's very radical bacon. The moon landing was a government job. The U.S. really want to beat the USSR, the Soviets, to like the moon first because the Soviets had all the other firsts in space before that.
So they said, okay, we're going to do this one thing first, declare victory, and then stop.
Yes, that's why David Graeber said like the greatest achievement of the Soviet space program is that it forced America to go to the moon first.
And now the first woman in space is I heard a massive chud ass.
I not researched that at all. It's like not surprising and unfortunate, and also like I think like I forgot who was like talking to like a Steve Jobs about it on his Ask Away, but some of those like great people that like were like some of the first or were like part of the Soviet space programs and brave as hell because they're like, yeah, there's no way to protect you out there, so it's just like you just have to like go
Okay.
out, just
Our
fly
engineers
outside in
basically
the
say there's a
parachute.
50% chance you're going to die. Good luck.
Okay.
Like Nixon, he had two speeches prepared, one for if they lived and one for
Yeah.
if they didn't. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
they didn't know.
Yeah. But some of the like former like cosmonauts from the Soviet are now Putin fans, and so
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, it's disappointing.
Buzz
Killing
Aldrin,
heroes,
age
everyone.
93, just got married again.
Yeah, and his wife looks
She's 35, I'm
like
guessing.
what's up with that, Buzz? Holy shit.
I won't judge. I'm
Yeah.
not
I
gonna
judge.
judge.
I judge
Yeah,
just a little bit.
now to be fair, my grandma did have like a fourth marriage as well. I went to that wedding actually, but like her husband was like in his
Oh no,
70s
she's
too.
not in
So
her
yeah.
30s. She looks like she's in her probably early 50s.
I heard she's like in her
Okay.
60s. That's what I'm hearing.
You know what? Hey, again, half your age plus 7. Just go by that. And it's like, so it might be. Oh no, but maybe they just made it to the cutoff. But at that point, when someone's like 93 or something like that, but like the other person's like 50, is like who cares? And there was like one person who was like they started dating someone that was younger than his children as were. To be fair, the guy was like his 90s and his children are in their 70s or 60s and 70s as were. So what if he started dating something that's like 50? They're all adults. So yeah. Yes, normally under normal circumstances, yeah, I'm dating someone that's younger than my children, as it were. But when your children are 60s and 70s, it's like, you know what? I'm not surprised, honestly. Hey, there was a lot of jokes made for Catherine Zeta-Jones, for like Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones, but like as far as I know, actually I haven't followed that up recently. But like they've been happily married as well, have children for sure. There was all the jokes of like Demi Moore and like Action Kutcher as it were, but they broke up.
She's 63
I think
and a doctor.
oh
So, yeah.
I forgot that what's his name?
Ashton Kutcher,
No, the one who's ever married to Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, I forgot he was still alive.
He's so
he's,
cool.
he's in
Honestly,
the Ant-Man movies.
yes. He was the original Ant-Man, or like in the comics, it was like his character is the original Ant-Man, first Ant-Man,
And he
Scott
also in the
Lang, took
movies,
over.
he was in the backstory in the past. He was the Ant-Man.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like no, and here's the thing about trivia with that: Michael Douglas is an Academy Award winner. But if you're trying to think what movie he won an Academy Award for, it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He did not act in a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975.
Oh, he was a producer?
He was a producer, and that movie won Best Picture that year as well. So it's a tradition of like Academy Awards. Producers get the Oscar for Best Picture. That you can have your debates about that, but like they don't have a Best Production or Best Producer like Oscar, so they give them Best Picture as well. But that's how that's. But just like how Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are both Academy Award winners, but not for acting. Well, Ben Affleck has two Oscars: one for producing Fargo or Argo, and not Fargo, Argo, and one for writing Good Will Hunting with Matt Damon. So yeah.
Hey, Geek, you're from Seattle. Have you seen
Yes.
Sleepless in Seattle?
No, I still have not seen Sleepless in Seattle, and I think I'm fine never seen Sleepless in Seattle. Honestly, I mean, if someone puts it on or have a partner or a girlfriend that loves that movie and wants to show it to me, that I'm not gonna say no because like it's almost like a classic joke or it's like no, it's a joke that's like I'm so lonely and depressed. I'm not watching Sleepless in Seattle. Oh no, you're it's a rough time for you.
Assuming my girlfriend is a white person, we're gonna watch that movie on our first date.
So, Demi Lovato is being censored by the UK.
Ooh, really?
She has a new poster out, and their advertising agency has banned it because it might be offensive to Christians.
Huh.
I'll go
Okay.
ahead
Wow.
and, let's see, fire you off a
Let's
link.
share it.
There we go, and here comes the sharing. Well, I can't share it, so I'll have to put it in chat. Just to describe it real quick, it shows her bound up in bondage gear on a. Let's see, no, that's an Etsy shop. That might not be the real poster.
Yeah, I was about to say, wait a minute, was like the Etsy shop thing.
But no, that looks to be the real poster. It's called Holy Fuck, her new album, and it shows her in bondage
Oh,
gear lying on a bed in the shape of a cross.
kinky.
So her poster has gotten banned in the UK. So she's definitely moving away
Ah,
from the Disney image. She hasn't gone as far as Cassandra Nelson, who you might know better under her stage name after Disney, Cincy Pearl, when she went into hardcore porn.
That's actually not niche, all things considering.
mm,
All right.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, remember, like these Christians probably had a problem with like Madonna in like a prayer, which I think
Christians
is a
have a
decent
problem with
song. Huh?
everything.
Yeah, they have a problem with everything. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for one thing, they're a bunch of perverts.
That's that. That's well. It's
They
this
think
all.
sex is bad. I mean, fuck them.
Yes.
They don't fuck. Well, so hard with perverts. Always hard.
Yeah, is again the fetishization of like virginity is also because of these puritanical like Christians, is that sort of thing too.
Virgin, touch
Mhm.
for the very first time.
Yeah, I mentioned Madonna, so yeah, that was appropriate actually. Hey, and not a bad song, honestly. Eh, yeah. So
I'll stop singing my white girl songs.
no, you should be. You're allowed to sing. I'm not allowed to sing because I can't carry a tune for the life of me.
I cannot remember what made us think that I could sing. Oh, wow. Okay, here's a headline or a title of a post on Reddit. Captain America number 275 is peak enlightened centrism bullshit and straight up insults Jack Kirby. I know I'm
What?
41 years too late, but I read this recently and needed to vent. If you haven't read it, Captain America tells a Jewish man not to punch a Nazi because it'll make him just as bad as the Nazi. When the Jewish man rightfully ignores him, Captain America declares the two are exactly the same, and then they both turn on and attack Captain America.
What?
Yeah. The guy who was famous for punching Hitler in his first appearance is telling Jews don't punch Nazi. See, 41 years too late. Yeah, 1975. Or, no, 1981 sounds like. That would explain a lot. 1981, 1982. Ronald Reagan, the Nazis are in power. Yeah, no wonder they did that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This just
Reagan, not a fan of Reagan.
and the comment over has like it said on Twitter is like going over like a majority of his like everything things. Why is all these bad things happening to like society? A lot of it goes back to Reagan.
Nazis break into a synagogue, assault the caretaker, destroy the interior, steal a Torah, and paint swastikas everywhere. Captain America, the guy who grew up in Brooklyn and fought in World War II, has to ask who would have painted a swastika on this synagogue, and what's a Torah? He then brushes off the concerns of the rabbi and the actual Jewish people who live there and says that this anti Semitic hate crime with swastikas was probably just a random group of assholes, not Nazis. Then he gives a speech about how the First Amendment should protect everyone and how they can't deny the right to speak freely. A Jewish person then suggests a counter rally, causing Cap to go, wait, no, don't use free speech like that. Yeah. Yeah. Stan Lee, my dude. I'm glad you're dead. His grave is another gender neutral bathroom. Just saying.
What the fuck?
Wait,
What the?
Stan Lee, the guy
actually
who
worked
ran
on
Marvel Comics and had editorial control at the time.
You know, I thought he allowed this to pass. So, like, yeah, he takes some responsibility for this too. Well, again, kill your heroes, or the only good hero is the sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna eat it. That's where, which goes along because, like, if you eat a sandwich, you probably killed the sandwich, and there you go, you killed your
Marley's
heroes.
propaganda.
I mean, many people, but again, many people who have suffer from and mental illnesses, depression, that's the word. Some of their outlets would be just silly drawings and silly stories for children, as it were. So it's just like I'm not gonna if someone's reading Marvel comics, I'm not gonna just point at them and go, "You're reading propaganda." And if they're a leftist or anarchist already, they probably I know this, but I want enjoyment in my
If a
life, so shut
4-year-old
up.
is reading a comic book, I'm going to insult that 4-year-old. Just saying.
Okay, John Brackman, jerk. You're a white person, so of course you're a jerk. Um, yeah, and some Christians insist they're oppressed, while my loyal Jews, my local Jewish community center seriously it has some serious security. Yeah,
They
but
have to.
yeah, no, it's like we have many documented evidence of synagogues being attacked all over the world as well.
For hundreds
I
of
mean,
years, they've had to.
yeah, exactly. Hey, and also many of them are a lot of people are active in other things Never Again. That was a Jewish led organization that was really it caused a lot of disruption of the concentration camps that we have in Texas this war. They're protesting outside of it because you know what, they'll be the ones that know what a concentration camp looks like, so yeah, they have to protest the ones that they exist.
You guys see that Greta Thunberg was arrested?
Yeah, yeah. Corey Johnson did covered this on one of his streams earlier this week on his Twitch channel, the Skeptical Leftist, and it's kind of it's not what the right wingers thinking it is. It's really not. Um, Skeptical Lefty. I don't think that's it. I'm gonna chill trying to find my Corey Johnson's thing and give me a moment. But no, it's just and from what I've seen of it, yeah, it's not what the right wingers I think it is. It's just no. I mean, yeah, it's I think it was just they were doing just a stop or something like that, or checking a passport or something like that. Is not what they all think it is. The word it's not a staging arrest or something like that. Uh, there we go. Skeptical of this. Here's Corey Johnson's Twitch channel. If you're not already following this, where yeah, Corey Johnson did check out the news and just um read up on this is what are these right wingers talking about, and he saw the video as it were, and it's just no, it's it's well, one thing is Greta Thunberg, I think it was actually arrested or it was definitely protesting, and cops doing what cops do is where if I remember correctly. I could be corrected on all this, so uh and yeah, it's just I it wasn't, I don't know, it's just whatever the right wingers are saying about that, it just they be very skeptical and say and go into it thinking that they probably got a
Climate
lot wrong.
activist Greta Thunberg detained by police in Germany at coal mine protest. This was a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Was released by German police on Tuesday evening after being detained early in the day at a protest over the expansion of a coal mine in the western village of Lützerath. Police confirmed. This is the second time she has been detained at the site. She is part of a large group of protesters that broke through a police barrier and encroached on a coal pit, which authorities have not been able to secure entirely. If the group advanced to the coal pit, police were concerned that the masses of protesters could set the ground in motion after it had been softened by rainfall. Officers intervened, removing people from the danger area and detaining them. We knew who she was, but she did not get VIP treatment. She did not resist. Thunberg has been the main speaker at the rally and had surprisingly returned to protest on Sunday when she was detained the first time, and then again on Tuesday. So you can see her being carried off by German cops.
No, so yep, that's what Greta Thunberg was arrested. That's where I take back what I said earlier. If I implied that she wasn't arrested, no, she was, because she was protesting, and
She was
would continue to protest too.
not arrested.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, Yeah, there's definitely a distinction there. So yeah, no, Greta Thunberg tired of talking to like politicians, which to be fair, because all they do is just play language games. It's like, oh yeah, we'll do something about climate change years from now.
We'll set up a
Out there now
voluntary participation program.
is okay. We'll set up a committee. We'll get the committee to investigate claims of like climate change and what's best to do about it. And then we'll have another committee about like implementing suggestions from the other committee about how the best to implement suggestions. And hello, Joe McClure, you came in just at the tail end. And after like that committee set up the policies and the procedures in order to force like in order to do the corrective actions against climate change as well, then we'll have the other committee like to do discuss how best to like implement those strategies as were, and they'll all those committees will like communicate with each other as were how best to implement the like climate change like policies as were, and then we'll put up the vote. And after the vote, then we'll ratify actions. And after the action's been ratified, then we'll have another committee to implement all those actions. And once that committee sets up everything, they'll put it to another vote and have another ratification. And then we'll apply to
We will
policies
implement
as
all
well.
the policies our wealthy donors want us to.
Yeah.
That's the truth, honestly. That's the thing. It's like that's why I still would not have like faith in like electoralism or elections at that much. Like there's some good can be done with it, but even with, as I said before, that like voting is like harm reduction. There's some that have like pushed back against that, is where it's like really harm reduction is where indigenous action has like criticisms of that statement of like voting is harm reduction, and like I read the video essay on that whole topic as well, because I can see where they're coming from. Voting in this system legitimizes United States of America a settler colonial project as it were, and its legitimacy is strongly questioned, to say the least, or should strongly be questioned, to say the least. Again, using the they use the discovery doctrine to justify like their expansion as well to genocides. America, USA, the United States of America, because the Americas is two continents or three continents as well. This is just one country on this continent. Then again, that's not to say that like the rest of the Americas are not also settler colonial projects as well too.
No matter how they try to get away from being settler colonial projects, the U.S. exists and keeps them in that state.
That's true. I think we like the guys like Colombia. I think it was Colombia that recently had some like it's a political like upheavals as it were, political rumblings and that sort of thing. And sadly, not only does not like legitimize it. Yeah.
All right. Well, we are now out of time.
Yep. So, Zay Taylor, you have like your Sinister Intelligence channel, and also you did like premiered another video on your other YouTube project of like the Autism like Modeling Society.
Yes. Yeah, I did.
Was that like if I did see the notifications? Was that like you showing off your Titanic ship?
Well, that yeah, it was me adding the lifeboats and stuff.
Nice, excellent.
Technically,
Check
those
those
are
out
garlic
on-
cloves. Because every time I see you post that picture on Facebook, they look like cloves of garlic. All right.
So yeah, and don't forget to like Zay Taylor's like Instagram too, Cult Culture 92, so you can check out like all the photos that like he posted up in Instagram as well.
Hopefully have my avatar up by next week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some research and see how that thing works.
There probably are plenty of YouTube videos to explain how to like set up your Vroid to you in a Zoom call as well. You can easily just Google that and like find YouTube videos with step-by-step instructions as well. Some better than others. So yeah, I'm Summer and Geek on YouTube. I so have not posted a video up recently. Summer and Geek on Twitter, Summer and Geek on co-host, Summer and Geek on Tumblr. I post as regularly on co-host and Tumblr as I do on Twitter, so like there's that. But other options to follow me on phone, and Submarine Geek on Twitch, and I'll be streaming later after the show ends. Don't forget charity links up. Hmm?
Yeah.
What's what that?
In a few minutes, I'm gonna watch Orphan First Kill.
Oh,
Did you say Orphan
that's
First
anime.
Kill?
Yeah, it's a prequel to the 2009 movie Orphan.
Oh,
Orphan
If they
First
want-
Kill is a 2022 psychological horror thriller slasher film that serves as a prequel to the 2009 film Orphan.
okay, horror film. Okay, interesting. I hope you enjoyed the Orphan's First Kill.
She's from Eastern Europe. That explains why she's murdering people. She's a communist.
Oh God. So yeah, but speaking of communism, charity links up page. There's a lot of people that can really use help, including our friend Phoenix, who show up in the chat. And Phoenix can always use help, and they give help to all the people in need. Practice mutual aid, as it were. And John Brockman, you're part of another podcast, aren't you?
Indeed. Dungeons and Debacles. D&D podcast where we were good guys, then we were bad guys, now we're good guys again. But the problem is we're cops and we were slaughtering civilians, so we put a stop to that and retconned it so it never happened. And now we're in trouble with our boss because the sergeant, lieutenant, basically yelled at our boss, and he got really mad. And if that ever gets published, then you'll find out what happened. But Dungeons and Debacles, a lot of fun from this. A lot of fun, completely different from this. All right, and with that, I suppose we might as well go ahead and say bye bye.
You guys
Yep.
later.
Later, everyone. Don't forget to practice self-care.